kahle amajita ashaya abafazi namajita abulala abafazi amagwala. Namagwala sibekeni nje namagwala. Wawungasebenzisa ivoice yakho ukukhuluma. Why le dominance onayo, the authority onayo ingakhona ukukhuluma and address the situation to calm it down? Why do you have to umshaya? Thetha wakho igwala awuhluzekanga umqondo. I had a friend whom I told straight up, verbatim, dude, what you're doing is not right, bruh. He was never beating umfazi wakhe ebusweni, but ebemshaya la ngekubonakala khona la azovala khona ngempahla. I mean, that friendship was not healthy even for me. I stepped aside because there's one thing that we need to be aware of. Being a man is a gender title, but being a father is a character. So don't assume the position of being a father if your character is flawed in that way. Now we don't want people to just roam around the street. What are you doing to protect your community? Judiciary system, please step in. Lawmakers, legislation, all the people who are involved in making sure that there are laws that are passed in our country. Can you please step up and let's do something about this? Dumelang sanbonani, absheni molweni. It's your boy again, Lebohang Motsoeneng. We're back again, and we are for change. Restore Men into Fathers is back again, and we wanna get into it today. I don't wanna be saying a lot of things. There's a burning issue that I really wanna get off my chest, and it's not because it's viral now, but no. It has to come to a stop. Yo, guys, it has to come to a stop. Honestly speaking, we should not be proud of ourselves as amagents. We should be calling a spade a spade. We should be calling out people we know who are doing things that are not in line with the values. It's like we need a code of conduct before you say ngubaba or ngi-outi. We kind of need to sit you down and say, there's a code we need you to live by, because I feel like we are all over the show when we don't call each other out. We just let each other be. And that has to come to a stop. It has to come to an end, But we are doing our part, and please do your part. Restore Men into Fathers is a Christian-based podcast. But we are not only speaking to Christians, but we're speaking to all humans, okay? And today, I just want to open up with something, right? I'm just going to grab this from my phone. So this is very important, just so you know. It's key. The citation I'm bringing out comes from the book of Genesis chapter 1, verses 26. I'm just going to read through it. This will form part of what I'm going to talk about. It says, "Then God said, let us make human beings in our image to be like us." Let me repeat that. Then God said, let us make human beings in our image to be like us. They will reign over the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, the livestock, all the wild animals on the earth, and the small animals that scurry along the ground. So God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female. 28. Then God blessed them. God blessed them. He didn't bless him. He blessed them. And said, be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and govern it. Reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and all the animals that scurry along the ground. Fair enough. We can say all sorts of things about hierarchy, order, and stuff. But let's go back to text. God made them male and female. He started, yes, forming the man out of the ground first. But that doesn't discredit the woman who came after. It doesn't, not at all. It doesn't discredit any female. Worse off, that same female was not created from just the ground. He was taken out of me as a man. The Bible says God caused Adam to go into a deep sleep, and it opened him up and took part of his rib to form the woman. In the same exercise that Adam had with all the animals, naming them and having them come forth to him, God saw that there was no companion that could be matched with the man. But in his great idea, which men didn't know about, in his mind, he made sure that he fulfills what he had said in Genesis 1:26 and 27. Then he created them both male and female, that both of them should have dominion. But it looks as if we are taking all of that out of context. We want to be, I don't know whether to call us giants in our homes. We want to be so dominant. If you want to be a bossa, go be a bossa at Kruger National Park. See if you can have dominion over those animals there, because that's the order that God gave us. But for us to be belittling and treating our women the way we have, to a point whereby we kill them, we should be ashamed of ourselves. We should also be ashamed of ourselves for not calling it out. If I have a friend who I know is beating their wife, I should mediate. I should call for help. At some point, this doesn't have to be a sit-down session whereby you say, no, let me call the cops. I'd rather you hate me than me visiting you actually because you've killed your partner, your significant other. It can't be. We can't. Gents, let's rise up. We honestly can't have this going on. God created both male and females to both have dominion. We can't. I mean, somebody has lost a daughter, or people are losing daughters. If you follow the stats, people are losing daughters, sisters, cousins, nieces, wives. In the hands of who? Men. They're not dying because they got into a carnage. They're not dying because they were sick, but they're dying in the hands of men. If 15 women are dying every day, what does it say? And they're dying in the hands of men. This is to come to a stop. How do you beat up umuntu? Uma ngasakufuni akasakufuni. Why can't we accept that and move on? Because if you slap her once, you're definitely going to do it again. If you strangle her once in a heat of an argument, you are going to do it again. If you curse her, you are going to do it again and again until somebody dies. Before we call out women, why bangambashiyi, asibashiyeni ke thina, why kungaqali thina ke sibashiyeni. If I can tell I'm becoming abusive in my tone, in my speech, in any form, I should call myself out and say, no, I'm no longer in my right senses, and pull away. Because while leaving them with the responsibility to walk out of an abusive relationship, but why can't we speak to us gents who are perpetuating this abuse? Why can't we speak to that? It's fine. Because one scream will one day not become a scream, but a dead body being pulled out on a stretcher. And the shame I would have as an outie, having to see that happen, whereas I've been hearing the screams going on and on. I can't. I believe that we as a nation should call this a stop. This should be the final straw. We can't, Bafetu. We can't have our women just die in the hands of men. We can't. Awuqonywa suka kuye. akasakufuni, phuma kuye, kunesizathu angasakufuni. Stop lying to yourself and thinking you're going to fix a problem which you're not even talking about. Whether women are making more money than amajita, that shouldn't be a cause for us to kill them. Okay, fine, you've gone to a club. You offer to buy drinks, or she asks you to buy her drinks. Buy the drinks and step away. If you want something further to happen, discuss that right there and then. With okay, into zenzeka manje, I'm buying you food or drinks or whatever, but I want to go home with you. You know, let it not just be an expectation with if I buy you drinks, that means I'm taking you home with me. What if she doesn't want to go home with you? And why, okay. Why ungasheli kahle? Umtshela umuntu uyamthanda. Can I see you again? Why do you have to insist on buying them drinks with the hope of having sex with them? And if things don't go your way, you want to kill them or strangle them. You even go to the extent of raping. You know, it's a bad reflection. It's also a bad reflection on us who are not even doing that. But we can't keep silent anymore. We can't keep quiet about this anymore. We're going to speak out. We're going to call it out for the benefit of a society. All the women who are dying, whether they have kids or they don't have kids, but they belong to a certain family. And if they are just dying like flies in the hands of men, now something has to be done. Lento ukuthi angezingeni should not be part of the conversation. If I feel that you're a threat also to me, let me call the cops, let them deal with this. Awaphithizela amaphoyisa aphithizela into ekhona. Crime occurs all the time. We get that. But GBV is happening at an alarming rate, and it ends with our females dying, our sisters dying. We can't have that anymore. God has put order in everything, but He's not given us authority to kill, to take a life, because we cannot agree on anything. If we get into a disagreement, let me be the bigger person and agree that I was wrong, you were right. But whatever verdict that comes between us during that dialogue should be for the benefit of my growth or your growth. But it shouldn't end as me feeling like uyangitelela. Ungitelela makwenze njani because you told me the truth. Gents, I don't know. I don't know anymore. Who needs to say this? And to our president and the government, do something about this. We can't just have us civilians running petitions, running marches, and you are silent about it. And don't be so diplomatic about it. Even all the way to the judiciary, let there be something that is done to men who continually abuse their women. A police station, if a woman comes to report a crime, abuse, don't want to look at the nitty-gritties. Sometimes we don't have to be formal about certain things. Let us cut to the chase. Somebody is crying out for help. If a woman goes to report a crime, don't slap the hand of umchitu tamfetu. Hey, uyabaze. No. Let's deal with this thing. Because until we do that, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. We can't be a nation that kills our women. Why can't we celebrate women? Why can't we be happy for them? Why can't we nourish them? Why can't we love them? Why can't we protect them? Can we protect our women? Can we really just protect our women for the benefit of our pride as Ama'auti? Let's forget all these other nonsensical things that are spoken of in social media. This is a cry to men in South Africa particularly, and men all over the world, yes, but we have the problem here in South Africa. Let's find a way to treat our sisters in a way that will reflect us to the world. Asbe na makhlot mana grand, asbe na elabo putilaba who protect their females. If you've got a colleague you know is going through abuse, I mean, my sister ungene emsebenzini, i-makeup, igcwele ubuso, but you can see that something is not right. Speak to them. Find a way to assist them. I don't have to do it all the way through, but I can find another sister angakhuluma naye azokwazi ukuphefumula kahle asho ukuthi no inkinga yami la sixabene kwabanjena nje. Let there be systems. My sisters, asingabi nenkani. I can promise you one thing. If he does it once, he will do it again. He will do it again. Eventually somebody's going to come out nge-body bag. Kuzoba neveni forensic ezothatha isidumbu. We should not be making this a debate. It has come to a space whereby we can no longer sit down and argue about this. Who was wrong? Nothing gives anyone the right ukushaya umuntu, even further to kill somebody because they are not agreeing on anything. Okay, you caught her cheating. It's fine. Who says she's not going to do it again if you stay there? Do you think Ukumsha is just going to keep it at that? It's not. You're only making her fear you. But what's love if fear is involved in it? Can't there be mutual respect and understanding? Why can't we work on those strengths and stop focusing on the weaknesses? Because Mamsha umuntu, you're only instilling fear, Gubo. Uzokusaba, but if angasakufuni, they will continue doing the things you don't like. Let's start talking. Let's start having these dialogues in our own small spaces. Muntu no muntu wakhe. Address these things. Even from the start. Wangishaya ngiyakubophisa. Wangishaya ngiyakushiya. Now as the outie, if you feel good day, isandla sakho siyaluma, no. Veluthi nazi mntu enkosi, I can no longer be here. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to either become the person I'm not supposed to be. So to avoid that, let me step aside. Because there's one thing that we need to be aware of. Being a man is a gender title, but being a father is a character. So don't assume the position of being a father if your character is flawed in that way. Now we don't want people to just roam around the street. What are you doing to protect your community? Do the people in your life see that in you, or you're just flaunting it around because you want to be feared or respected? Respect is earned. You don't just get it because you wear pants and a belt, but you get it because of your character. We want to celebrate women in this country. We want to make sure 2026, all the way through, we want to be a nation that celebrates our women. From their achievements, we must celebrate them. For them just being women, let us celebrate them. Uyindoda uzalwe umama, akekho umuntu ofike nje la afike ethwele inyoni. Sonke sizalwe umama. Now how do we mistreat the women we have in our lives? Why can't we treat them with dignity? The Bible says they are a weaker vessel, but their weakness doesn't mean they're stupid. It doesn't mean it means they're sensitive. They need to be treated in a particular way. Real men don't beat their women. They don't abuse their women. They find mechanisms to understand their perspective. They respect their opinion and they value them. Let's value the women we have in our lives. But you are beating umntana mama. You can't do that. I know. We can't have that. Not as a country, not as a machita, not as a bobaba. We can't have that. So, wherever you are as umchita, if you know, I had a friend who once did something like that, Pamgwam. I was not for it. I was totally not for it. Because it doesn't make sense. If somebody no longer wants to be in your life, take that as it's done. Find a way. But you can see the signs if umuntu doesn't want to be with you anymore. Once you're no longer in the picture, step aside. Find somebody who will enjoy your company. Find your space elsewhere from that person, because the one thing that's going to happen, you're going to start mistreating Leomund. You're going to start threatening that person. uzoba nenkani ukuthi suyamgada manje sowuphenduka iphoyisa awusekho ku-relationship sowuyiphoyisa wena manje ukokae ona le bomang ke utlwa di-voice mo ke bomang mo nkare ona le banna mo video call. That's not necessary. If you are insecure in your relationship, phuma. It's not going to stop because of ukhuluma nawe video call. It won't stop because she's telling you ukuthi if she's with somebody, I mean banbenkosi, we all have choices. We make choices every day. The minute you step out of the house, it's based on a choice. You can stay in your house, you can step outside, but it's a choice. You made that decision, you make that call. So if somebody no longer wants to be in your life, accept it and move on. It's for your betterment. It's not going to discredit you, but instead it will make you a better person. So, gents, I pay lentole. Let's call GBV out, bafethu. That iqala kancane this thing. I've watched it and I've seen it and I've called it out. Iqala kancane. Small pinch in the hand. I had a friend whom I told straight up, verbatim, dude, what you're doing is not right, bruh. He was never beating umfazi wakhe ebusweni, but ebemshala la ngekubonakala khona la azovala khona ngeimpahla. I mean, that friendship was not healthy even for me. I stepped aside because I can no longer be in that position whereby umjitu uyaqhubeka kwenza this thing. Eventually someone's gonna die. Sekumele sibhesuke and treat you like you are isono ngawe. Masosejele lapha kumele sikuzwele ubuhlungu, but kunabazali abalahlekelwe ingane, kunomntwana olahlekelwe umama, kunomjito olahlekelwe isister lakhe, maybe even for that matter usisi wakhe bekesebenza empatalela school fees, but now here you are wena uyamshaya ugcina umbulalile. Judiciary system, please step in. Lawmakers, legislation, all the people who are involved in making sure that there are laws that are passed in our country, can you please step up and let's do something about this? Let there be something. I feel like we fight and argue about things that, yes, they have critical importance in this country, but there are things happening underneath. There are things happening on the ground level that, if not attended to, we're going to have a problem. Restore Men into Fathers also addresses Amagents who are in prison. And as we address them, we don't want to empathize now, but we want them to have changed. It's not called correctional services with the purpose that they are going to babysit you to become a better thug, but it's called correctional services because we have to correct the wrongs. But if we don't step up to abafethu abasemajele and not condone this lifestyle, yobuklevi lifestyle, yokwenza izinto ezisnacks, we're only saying to them, continue doing that. We shouldn't fear them. Instead, we should address them with love. Let love lead the way now. Let's find ways to go to those prisons and speak to amajita, ungeneleni la, and start speaking ngomqondo hayi wobugwala, but umqondo ukuthi mfo, you need to change because you're going to come out. We need to absorb you back into society, but we can't absorb umuntu who hasn't changed. Yes, you might have done your sentence. When this sentence because you've committed a crime, but have you changed mentally? And if this thing needs to be attended to far deeper, where we involve not only I'm a psychiatrist or psychologist or even I'm a social worker, let's have people within the community who can incubate amajita who come from prison to absorb them into the community and find ways, how do we keep them busy without having them to think about crime? So as much as we're in support of this, we also want to raise men into fathers. We want to restore men into fathers. And asishuti baba because unengani, but as soon as uzalwa kulo mhlaba lo, we should be able to groom you to become a nurturing person from a perspective of being a father. How we relate to God as being a father, we are quick rather to say God is a man. But when we look at the character, we look at what God does, because I have not seen God, but I've seen the works of God, and that shows me the role of a father. He said, let us create them both male and female, but in the image of God. in the image of God. God is spirit, and as God is spirit, so are we spirit. Don't be fooled by this shelter. Don't be fooled by this skin or the gender. The gender is just to make sure that we know who is paired up with who for the purpose of reproduction and raising a family. But internally, we are God's image. God is spirit, and we are spirit as well. So let us assume our positions as fathers. Assume our positions as fathers. I'm raising 3 sons, and all 3 sons, I tell them they need to respect their female counterparts. They need to respect their female counterpart. And if they learn that at an early age, they will not be bullied, yes, they will not be taken advantage of, but they will know where to draw the line. Where we are not wanted, we step aside because we're not going to force ourselves into something. But at the same time, I would never be in support of my sons abusing abantwana babantu. I would never do that. So it's a project I have. It's a lifetime project until I'm dead. But I know there are other people who are growing up, who are also assuming the position of fatherhood. They are going to help my sons grow up and become what I had originally designated my kids to become: respectable, God-fearing, protecting their families, their female counterparts, and making sure that they call out things that are wrong. We need to start them at an early age. We should not just treat them as boys. There will be boys because they are growing up. There will be teenagers because they are growing up. But we need to now build the character of protecting their female counterparts. The same way we do it. You don't do that. You stand up because the fatherhood in you, the protector in you. That's what rises up. The same way now, somebody disrespects your lady, you want to step up. This protection or the protective element within you. Now, why doesn't it arise when this person you're trying to protect is now maybe in offense to you? The same way I was going to defend her, let me defend her again. It's her opinion. And I'm not saying there are females, there aren't females who are not abusing amadota. Yes, those things are there. They are there. But at this point in time, we've got numbers that are totally way up that we need to bring down to 0. If it takes a day at a time, let's do that as a nation. Let's do that as a black nation. Let's do that as an African continent. Let us not be pleased with amachita beating up their women, abusing their women. Abusive, you can hear them. But this person is not mature. How do you disrespect umuntu wesifazane kanjalo? How do you speak ill of your wife? How do you even speak uthi entwana benginaizolo? Already, that's disrespect. Some things are meant to be private. Keep them private. Even the arguments you have, don't publicize those things. But at the same time, you have amachita you speak to, people you relate to, people you tell your issues to. If you speak to people who are matured, they will tell you, Ntwana, now you are missing the mark. You shouldn't have said 1, 2, 3, 4. Go and apologize to your wife. You're not a fool if you apologize to her, but you're building yourself as well. Because if she leaves you, you've become a better person, even for the next person, ozobanai. But if you stay there, you're only going to build up grief and resentment, not against her, but against every other woman. She may say she's calling things off now, but your next relationship, you're going to make sure that the person suffers for the mistakes of the other one. Because you have not rehabilitated your mind. You have not put in place the kind of mechanisms that are going to assist you to become a person who has a clear perspective of your relationship without having to argue or raise your hand. If you've got a gun, you've got a firearm. That thing was meant, you took up that thing to defend and protect yourself, not to kill your wife. Why are we having this? A couple of months ago, we saw a young man in Mafikeng killing his mom, going on and on with a shovel. Those things are, as demonic as they look, they sound demonic even as well. Even I'm talking about it now. It's demonic. It's ungodly. It's inhumane to do something like that. Now we are going to see this happening that side, and then we hear of other stories in the Eastern Cape. We have other stories in University Gupi. All those things, we need to stand up and fight against those things. Those things should not be happening. We shouldn't allow certain things to happen under our watch. Gents, asibumbaneni, asihlanganeni, let's go march. Akusi march yabo mama leyana, march yethu as a country. March yethu as a country, not yabo mama, yethu sonke bafethu. Let us go there in support. Let us go there in support and make sure after we've shown our support, we take action against that kind of a behavior. It's uncalled for. It's honestly uncalled for. I'm highly opinionated. I feel good to anyone who does something like that should not be given a slap in the hand. Their punishment should be severe. Should be so severe that it tells all of us, this should not be done. But if we're going to say no, hire the best lawyer, ozomkhulumela. If somebody is dead, they are dead. It's not a mistake that they are dead. The intention was to kill them. Now, a lawyer is going to be defending umuntu ofana na lawyer, trying to find loopholes in the law. That means our law is not foolproof. Especially against GBV. It should be so foolproof to a point whereby even the best lawyer in the country cannot take you out of that. Go serve your sentence. Go serve your sentence. Ngisho noma ngakuphusha kanjani umuntu wesifazane, hamba bafo. Unemoto, start imoto uhambe. Awuna moto, phuma uhambe ngeenyawo. Hamba uyoshawa umoya ubuye endlini sopholisa umqondo. If you can't handle ukuthi uyakuphusha uyakuhlokoloza ukwenza inini, step aside. You know what anger can do. Anger can make you uhambe usuka wherever. Like if uphume Soweto thathu usuke Soweto uyongena edrobheni uhamba ngeenyawo just from anger. Ungasuka eSoshanguve eMabupane uwalk uze uyongena ePretoria CBD from anger. Now imagine if uhlele endlini ke and you don't walk it out. What's going to happen? Uzobulala abantu. And in your regret, what you do, you end up killing your kids and killing yourself because ingqondo ayisathathi kahle. So let's not put ourselves in compromising situation. Gents, I'm pleading with you. As we are trying to restore men into fathers, this is so broad, it's so extensive, but we need to unite as Amachita. We need to fight against certain ills. We need not sit around and clap hands for one another when we are doing things as wrong. Let's have a dialogue, a serious one, a clear one for that matter. Should not just be killing time. Let it be on the basis of we're trying to solve a problem. Because as men, we are problem solvers. We can clap hands for ourselves there. But if we are causing the problem now, somebody else must rise up and solve this problem. But we can't be the problem of this country, nor of this continent. Brown people, let's rise up against GBV. Our sisters have had enough. We have had enough because these are our siblings. These are our cousins. These are our mothers. These are our aunties, our mamkhulu, our mamncane, ogogo bethu. But they can't be suffering under umuntu wesilisa. So let's rise up and go support. This entire episode is totally dedicated against GBV. We cannot allow GBV to continue. Let's respect our women. Let's love our women. Let's protect our women. Windoda enjani wena ongakhona uprotecta umuntu wakho against yourself. Uyazazi ukuthi uyibhubesi, uyazazi ukuthi wena touches a move. But wakumele ube touches a move kumuntu ohlekisana naye. Yini engako sukuyihleka naye ezothi mase kumele ngixazulule certain issues uyamshaya ujika umbulale futhi. Walk out, walk away mfana. Let's walk away. Let's walk away mfana. Rather walk away. Walk away, kuyingqondo say right. So ucabange izinto kahle and talk things through and you move on ngempilo. But the day you raise your hand against a woman, lo Satan uzohlezi akutshela ukuthi mshaye, ngeke uzokujwayela kabi. Donse ngempahla mbambe ngentamo mvale mfake kwi-vice grip, but ulwa nomuntu wesifazane ngathi ulwa nendoda. Kahle kahle amajita ashaya abafazi namajita abulala abafazi amagwala. Ya namagwala sibekeni nje namagwala. Wawungasebenzisi ivoice yakho ukukhuluma. Why le dominance onayo, the authority onayo ingakhona ukukhuluma and address the situation to calm it down? Why do you have to umshaye? Thetha wakho igwala, awuhluzekanga umqondo. Khona into engekho right la kuyo. Sifaka abantu aba-wrong eStefontein. Sifaka abantu aba-wrong kuma-psyche wards. Kumele sifake wena. Yini into engakwenza ukuthi ushaya umuntu wesifazane? Why can't you walk away? Uyigwala umthetho wakho. Uyigwala. Umshayelana. Umbulalelana. Masekafile, then what? Uyi-hero. Kabani? No, guys. This is so it's heartbreaking. Honestly, it's heartbreaking. I would have loved to be diplomatic and be so soft about this, but the more I talk about this, the more I realize how bad this thing is. Women are in constant fear. Today siyahleka sise-Maldives siseskepeni kumnandi, kusasa siyabuya sokuwe manje oshaya umuntu wesifazane, sokuwe mkhama. Abanye asibakhami so sibayisa kuma-vacation ngoba siyothi sorry. Umthengela ibhegi eLouis Vuitton because uthi sorry ngikushayile izolo. Umthengela imoto because you've been abusing them. That should not be a reward. My sister, if uyakushaya, please go. Akusile uhlazo ukubuyela ekhaya, especially if uhlala nomuntu okushayayo. Uzokubulala ngelinye ilanga lo muntu. So don't stick around for that. You'd rather be alone with your kids than to be with a man who abuses you. Don't stick around for that. And I'm not promoting ukuhlukaniswa kwabantu, but circumstances such as abusing umuntu wesifazane physically, it doesn't stop. That's the thing. If it has stopped, okay, I'd like to invite you to come and sit down with me on this podcast. Let's find a way on how to help other gens who are still doing this thing. Let's find a way. How do we prevent this from going on? We need to find a way of how we prevent this, but it can't go on under our watch. Come rain or shine, the 21st, we are there. Restore Men into Fathers will definitely be there. My sisters, we are in total support of you. We are your protectors. We are the providers. We are the ones that need to give you security. By the time of ufonela amaphoyisa, if I'm not there, mangifika nami, I will act as a form of protection for you, but I will not allow you to suffer. I will not allow you to die, but I will be your protector. Let's protect abosisi bethu bafethu. Let's fight for them. Let's fight for them ukuthi babe right. With that, I'm signing out, and last keynote from me. Purchase this copy. It will help you as a guideline. Restore Men into Fathers. You can dial me up. You can send me a message, DM me, whatever you can do to get yourself a copy. There is a follow-up copy in the making because this is a progressive thing. It's not a once-off thing. The author of this book is passionate about restoring families, and I'm part of those people who went under a program to restore myself, to get myself to a position whereby I can proudly stand and say, I'm working on myself and I've become a better person than I was yesterday. So get yourself a copy of Restore Men into Fathers, and let's have the same dialogue. Let's fight for change. Let's fight to build our communities, ngothando and respect. Signing out.